Alrighty, folks, it is time for round 3 of Grand Prix Neo Stehlia, and we finally aren't facing the mirror, but we are still facing a deck on 4 copies of Offset Daemon, so this card really just feels inescapable right now. Before we get into our opponent's deck and get into the match, as always, if you want to check out the format for yourself, links in the description below lead you to all the key resources for all things Revolution Custom Standard, most importantly, the Custom Magic Discord, where you can check out the Revolution channels and all of the other different things that are happening in the community. All right, so this round we're up against All Who Wander on Big Boros. This is a qualifying match for the top cut. Whichever one of us wins here gets into the top cut guaranteed. So we definitely want to be coming out on top of this if we can. But I do think this is going to be a tougher matchup than the mirror, actually, because while the control mirror is very difficult to navigate, this is a deck that I feel like is poised to punish something like the Jeskai control builds. Lots of enchantments with against a deck that does not have a ton of ways to check enchantments, and it's cheap enchantments too, so not something that's really particularly great to hit with our one main deck enchantment removal that we have. Couple planeswalkers, some terminal impacts that we really can't stop. This deck seems like it's been doing pretty well so far, so we're going to have to really fight to navigate it. So Big Boros is, as you might expect, a Boros control deck. Red and white, no blue to be found this time around. Built around a couple different things. The most important thing here, I think, to really get started with is Inner Inferno. This is 1 and a red for an enchantment. Once each turn, when you put a counter on a permanent, you may exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until you next exile a card with Inner Inferno. So importantly, every time you have a counter put on anything in your turn, on each turn, so you can do it on your opponent's turn if you have a way to make that happen, you exile the top card of your library. You may. So it does not force you to, which means it can't shred your deck to pieces over the course of a long control matchup. And importantly, it also means that because you can play the card until you next hit a thing off of Inner Inferno, you only have to choose to do so once you know for a fact that you no longer have a card under Inner Inferno. It also has a sorcery speed activated ability for 1 and a red to put a -1/-1 counter on a creature you control. That's not that important, but it is important that this has an activated ability, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But this has influenced a lot of the structure of this deck. This deck is on a playset of Shigane Manor Burns. Time Loop Sagas put counters on them every single turn, and they never go away, which means this is an Inner Inferno trigger every single turn in perpetuity. Cleansing Starfire is 2 a red and a white for an enchantment with Wither that deals 4 to any target, so it can be 4 direct damage to us, or it can be 4 damage to one of our permanents, and once each turn, when they put 1 or more counters on a permanent, they may gain that much life. Note, the important thing with Inner Inferno and Cleansing Starfire is when you put 1 or more counters on a permanent, so the Wither here putting counters on our creatures does work to let them gain life or let them exile a card from the top of their library. Also really good with Advance of the Quiet Moon. 1 white for a battle that starts at 4 defense. This entering, you put the 4 defense counters as part of it entering, which means triggers Inner Inferno, gains you 4 life off of Cleansing Starfire, exiles a non-land permanent until it leaves, and if it's ever defeated, whenever a non-token creature they control leaves the battlefield, they get to make a 1/1 to replace it. Get themselves some extra value. There's 3 copies of Atomic Core, 3 mana rock that can tap to put a charge counter on itself, so that's another way to generate Inner Inferno triggers every turn. And then you can tap it for either 1 mana of any color for each charge counter on it to really push to big mana fast, or it can tap and sacrifice it to destroy all non-land permanents with mana value equal to the number of charge counters on Atomic Core. So this can jump up to 5 drops on turn 4. This can build up a ton of mana over time. This can be 3 mana destroy all tokens. It does a lot of very flexible things. Atomic Core really, I think, one of the quietly one of the better cards in Solitaire. I think I would go so far as to say one of the top 10 cards in Solitaire, pretty comfortably so. I'm not 100% sure if it would be top 5 at this moment, but yeah, Atomic Core, very strong card. And naturally works very well with some of these synergies. Also, really good with Inner Inferno and Cleansing Starfire. Planeswalkers. Kefella Enlight Catalyst, 3 red for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker with Wither that gives instants and sorceries Wither. There's only one sorcery in the deck and no instants or sorceries that deal... really no instants or sorceries besides that one sorcery, which we'll get to in a moment. So that is just going to give occasionally Wither to something, but really it's here because you can +2 to deal 2 to any target, so that just chips away at things over time, puts -1/-1 counters on things, so that can be consistent triggers on your Inner Infernos and your Cleansing Starfires when you're picking off the opponent's board. Can 0 to make 2 1/1 red spirits for consistent pressure, build up a wider and wider board. Can be much more difficult to punch through. And the -X is not very valuable here. It exiles an instant or sorcery with mana value X from your graveyard, and you can cast a copy of it without paying its mana cost. But again, there's only one sorcery, and we'll get to it in a moment why that -X really is not good for that sorcery. And then Dutiful Wanderer, last card in the main deck that builds up counters, at least outside of the mana base. 3 white for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker as well. This time creatures can't attack unless the total power of attacking creatures they control is 4 or less, at least for the opponent. So we become very limited on how much pressure we can apply to the opponent with some of our big dragons potentially being completely unable to attack. +1 to make her a 3/3 double striker with indestructible until end of turn. Doesn't work on defense, but doesn't really need to because of that passive. And then -3 exiles up to 1 creature they control and up to 1 creature we control, and then they only return the thing that they controlled to play. So they had to blink out one of their creatures while clearing ours for good. So lots of very powerful enchantments, battles, artifacts, planeswalkers to really synergize with that counter placement core. This is backed up by a handful of other interactive tools. Importantly, Terminal Impact. That one sorcery, not really good if you're casting it for free because it cares about mana spent to cast it, but it's uncounterable, which is great in a control matchup, especially if you can start just chipping away damage at the opponent. This just punches over the top really effectively, so we're really going to have to be wary of how low we get and how much mana the opponent has available to them. Probably not going to be seeing this played to remove creatures too often, but this is also a nice flexible removal for the more aggressive matchups because this can just be 1 mana, deal 1, pick off a 2/1 creature, or a mana dork depending on the matchup. So this is a lot of flexibility here. Then there is Sealing Strike as a bit more removal alongside the Advance of the Quiet Moon, 2 and a white, cycling for 2 enchantment. It's just an Oblivion Ring. And importantly, this having cycling means it can be found off of Contest Coordinator. 1 and a white, 1/3 human performer. Looks at top 5 cards of your library. You can find a plains or non-land card with an activated ability from among them, put it into your hand, and the rest go on the bottom of the library in a random order. So that finds your Sealing Strikes. That finds your Inner Infernos. That activated ability really coming back in a meaningful way. Finds Atomic Cores. Finds Kefellas. Finds Dutiful Wanderers. And we'll get into how many planes are in the mana base in a little bit. But yeah, Contest Coordinator, a lot of very good value generation, can be blinked back with Dutiful Wanderer to dig a little bit deeper. This card is still just so good, and this is definitely a shell that really capitalizes on the Coordinator, just kind of buying time against aggressive matchups, soaking up a little bit of damage from an attack while also digging deeper to the things you really need to be finding in matchups. And then finally, there is Offset Daemon, of course, full play set. This is going to be a real headache for us. As we've seen, Offset Daemon, pretty difficult for us to deal with when it's on the board already, but if we can be the ones with Offset Daemons kind of spiraling out of control, that would definitely be preferable. They're backed up by 23 lands here, so they've got 4 basic mountains, 3 basic plains, and a full playset of Primal Fissures, as well as 2 copies of Stack Conviviplex. These are another way to potentially generate counters for your Inner Infernos, as well as plains for you to find off of the Contest Coordinator. There is 2 copies of Crucible of Bound Flame, which really appreciates you having plains in play. Taps for red, enters untapped if you have a plains. It can pay 1 white to make it a 2/2 until end of turn. And whenever it attacks, it gives your other creatures +1/+0. Not going to be a ton of pressure, but it is a nice utility to just kind of chip in with some damage, especially alongside like an Offset Daemon or a Contest Coordinator or a bunch of Kefella tokens. That's also very relevant. Or the Dutiful Wanderer being a double striker. Those can both be very real. And then otherwise, more fixing, playset of Temple of Origins, playset of Windbeaten Stones for duels. So that's the main deck. We'll get into the sideboard once we're out of game one. This is going to be a sketchy matchup. Certainly, us being slow is going to be a bit of a liability because I feel like their value engine's a little more inevitable than ours. But there is no counter magic to speak of in this matchup, so we can play a lot more liberally in this matchup. They have no instant speed plays. They are going to be tapping out and passing their turn in almost every case. So we get to really maneuver a lot of the interaction that happens in this particular matchup. So we'll see how it all fares. Let's get into game one. Alrighty, we are on the play. This is a 3-lander with double Seafloor Treasure, double Fateful Ascent. No stack interactions, a touch awkward, but I can rock this. I can go either Stones or Lakefront tapped on one. I think I'll go Stones tapped on one, because if I draw more lands, I'd rather have the Lakefront in hand. And if not, I can just go Lakefront on 3, get a tapped basic, and still have every non-land card in my hand up. Yeah, this is a keep. Did a little bit of lobby hopping before we got into this game, but got it all sorted. And I have also taken time between the deck tech and game one to actually stop and eat dinner. So going to be acting on full fuel. So main one, we'll just play Windbeaten Stones and pass. Primal Fissure is absolutely getting an island here. Crucible Bound Flame tapped for the opponent. We both play red sources tapped on one. We will draw an untapped island. I think I will hold that for now. Yeah, I would much rather hold that for the time being. But good to know that we have a third land without needing to use Silent Lakefront, though I might still use Silent Lakefront. That is a Shigani Manor Burns. Unfortunately, we gotta say K to that. So we could think about if we want to Fateful Ascent that. I think we can just Seafloor Treasures right now either way. Yeah, we're going to go get a basic island. We have, like, really no reason to get double white outside of Clash at Orith Cross, and no reason to get double red whatsoever. So the only issue with our mana right now is needing a second red or white source for, like, Offset Dame and Deafening Clarion. We'll get the island here. Seafloor Treasures. Would have loved to have a counterspell for the SMB here, but no such luck. Terminal Impact versus Primal Fissure. Pretty tough choice, actually. I would love to keep the Terminal Impact here. With 2 lands in hand, I think I will actually do so. We'll put this in hand, put the Fissure in the bin, and bin that Seafloor Treasures. We will untap. We will draw a 3, become 1. I think we're going to go ahead and Silent Lakefront here. Go get a basic Plains, solve that one freestanding mana issue. I kind of don't love letting them get value off the Shigani Manor Burns, but right now I don't think I have much incentive to pick it off. I think I'd rather just hold up mana for another Seafloor Treasures, or potentially Fateful Ascent if needed. Don't imagine we'll be pressed to use Fateful Ascent this turn, but perhaps. Opponent is thinking they will pitch a Terminal Impact, finding Atomic Core, Inner Inferno off the top. Yikes, that is Value Engine. Wow, they're playing Inner Inferno before the land drop. I would love to counter this right now, but I cannot. That is going to be an okay from me. Wow, they miss a land drop. Interesting. Well, I do not want to Fateful Ascent that now. Oh, but I kind of do, because they want to dig for land drops, and SMB lets them do so. But this gives them a land drop. This requires them to commit their next turn to getting a land drop. I think I want to Fateful Ascent that. So they are behind a land. That is meaningful. And they do not have the mana to crack this chart. So it is going to take them their next turn to get to their third land drop here. We will untap. We will draw a Lucent Basin. I'm going to play Island and pass. All right. Shigani Mana Burns deals 2 to me. They're going to pay 2, crack the chart. Dig past a Cleansing Starfire to find a Wind-Beaten Stones. Going to play that untapped. Crack the treasure. Let's respond with a Seafloor Treasures. View the top 2. There's an Overrule Will. Sad to put a Draconis Magistus into bin, but I do think I have to say no to this. We will bin that, put this to hand. Say no thank you. Thinking on player target. The only real downside to targeting them with the mill is if they find an offset daemon, we can potentially tee them up for the offset daemons. But we are at full enough graveyard for Seafloor Treasures to be active. I do think I'd rather target them. So we mill Dutiful Wanderer number 1, Mountain, and Plains. Milling 2 lands while they're mana screwed is really nice. Holy cow. Also happy to see Wanderer gone. That is 1 copy of the 2. We will untap. We will draw Iviana Dragon Tamer. Oh, now this is a tough question. Do we shock in Iviana? What is the punish if we do? If we shock in Iviana, they can't really do anything too devastating to us. Yeah. Let's go, Iviana. I'm going to tick her down to 2, make 2 treasures, and I think we're going to grab a Sulio. Just, you know, get the one thing that really screws them over on trying to fight us right now. So this is protection for Iviana that we get to just float here. Oop, did not mean to click pass turn there, but all good. So opponent draws for turn, makes a tapped treasure off Shigani Manor Burns. Feeling very happy about the inner ring. The inner Inferno. Inner ring pupil just automatically plays in my brain. They were getting ready to pay 2. They're going to terminal impact Iviana. That is fine by me. So, yep, Iviana down. That is the second terminal impact expended. And we do now have 7 mana available. We will untap. We will draw. They are continuing to miss land drops. That sounds like a good deal to me. Let's roll on an offset daemon. Make sure. We're going to, I think, set it to... we got to do it like this. Overflow. We're going to stick Overflow, I think, on Program C. Deal 3, gain 3, and we'll pass. I will Asulio just about anything that is too meaningful for my opponent. I will Fateful Ascent and Offset Daemon for sure. They've been a contest coordinator. Flip 2 lands. So they do have their land drops. They're going to shock in a Wind-Beaten Stones. Ooh, boy. There is an Offset Daemon of their own. I think I'm actually just going to say K to that. I'm going to Fateful Ascent it, I think. Fateful Ascent the offset, the Overflow token. And I can just terminal impact that. So we're going to do a bit of life trading. Where are you putting this? Okay, they put it on A. So we take 3. Do I Fateful Ascent now? It only costs me 1 of my treasures. But that prevents me from... Well, it doesn't necessarily prevent me from doing anything, because I can 3-mana Terminal Impact, burn out the Daemon, still hold up 2 for Asulio. If I do it now, that prevents me from using both treasures for it. Like, I can still hold up Asulio with both treasures next turn. This spares me using the treasure next turn, but it also means It's a little tricky. I think I would like to... This is tough. I think we're going to say no to doing anything right now. I think we can be judicious here. We will draw an Overrule Will. That is great for us. Just making sure. Yep, I took 3. They gained 3, so we're both at 16. Then I'm going to hit them back down to 13. I'll gain up to 19. I'm at Program A. Yeah, I think right now I want to let them go to Program A here. I can hold up 3 become 1. I can hold up Overrule Will or Asulio. Yeah, this is just a very good position to be in. I'm missing a land drop here, but I don't care too much. They're missing... they've missed multiple. I've got more treasures than them. So I think we're cool to just kind of chill here. I've got seafloor treasures up in the worst case scenario. So I take 2 from Shigani Manor Burns. Their overflow runs and fails to do anything. They're going to pay 4 for Offset Daemon number 2. Here's what I'm going to do. 3 become 1. I'm going to draw 3. I would like to Draconos Magistus this, I think. So this is going to be on an adventure. They do hit their 5th land drop here. So they hit us down to 14. That is 1 Offset Daemon down. Maybe we should have held on to the Draconos Magistus, if only because we know that Overrule Will is going to start having diminishing returns here. I'm going to just nudge these over a little bit. Let's draw Deafening Clarion. So we're going to slide over to Program B. Yeah, missing multiple land drops ourselves now is a little awkward. Because we've only really binned 1 land, and that was off of a Seafloor Treasures. I think I'd like to 0.3 damage at Offset Daemon here. And then just kind of see where else we're at. So let's clear the Daemon. Clear the deck a bit. We're going to go to combat. They take 3, we gain 3. Yeah, missing a land drop here really does sting. But I feel better about not having expended the treasures. So, little silver linings. A little awkward that we tapped this way because it doesn't let us hold up... Yeah, I should have tapped the plains instead of the second island. Doesn't let us hold up Asulio off of just lands. If given the opportunity to this turn, I will Overrule Will targeting myself, try and get an Offset Daemon into the bin. They do have a 6th land before we do. Offset Daemon number 3. Holy cow. We are going to overrule will, make them pay into that. We are going to mill. Wow, they're going to let it go. So we mill Rousing Path, Stargazing, overrule will number 2. Sorry, overrule will number 3. Wow, they let it go and then don't do anything. Interesting. I'm thinking if I want to Seafloor Treasure Zone upkeep here, because I can do that before I go to Program C. I think if I draw an Offset Daemon, I'd rather just play the Offset Daemon. No, I think I would actually like to try and dig here. So we're going to pay 3 on upkeep. We're going to Seafloor Treasures. Ideal situation here is we've been an Offset Daemon, find a land. So top 2. Found the land, did not find the Offset Daemon. Don't want to bin a 3 become 1, but I do think I need to take the land drop here. So, bit of an unfortunate circumstance. Clash at Orith Cross is not too shabby. Oh, you know what they might have done? They might have specifically used held off on using the treasure because they're sitting on another terminal impact and they'd rather save the treasures to try and burn me out over multiple turns. Right. They have flagged that I am going to Program C, so Overflow runs, fails to get anything. I'm going to play Silent Lakefront, dig into my library. I think we're going to go get... We're going to go get our last island. I am looking to have some blue sources. So this is 3 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, if we can get in with another 2 hits with Offset Daemon, we do have them here. So that's interesting. All right, they're cracking Primal Fissure on upkeep. They find a mountain. If they go to just try and spike us with a big terminal impact, they... Oh, they can use it to clear Offset Daemon. That's the thing. They're going to decline on Shigani Manor Burns, which tells me they like everything in their hand. They're going to go to Program C. 3 Phoenixes in bin. They're paying 4. Oh, reconsidering. Oh, they're going to terminal impact to the Offset Daemon. Oh, they're going to Sealing Strike the Offset Daemon. I'll say K to that, because that does not stop me from killing them next turn. So they're going to take this. Let's try and get it back. They get a chart, and let me just double check that they have nothing to do at instant speed here. Nope, looks like we are in the clear to kill them. We will untap, draw Lucent Basin just to be certain. We will go to Program A. Main 2. Shock in Lucent Basin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can pay exactly 7 and hold up Asulio for no reason. GG's. Whew. That is the benefit of being the only player with instant speed interaction. All right, going into game 2, the opponent does have some very scary cards in their sideboard. Specifically, they have 3 copies of End of Mutations here. 6 mana 5/5 that can't be countered, has first strike haste, and whenever opponent casts a non-creature spell, if they haven't attacked this turn, it deals 5 damage to them. So this is going to be hitting us for 5 every turn. It is nigh impossible to block, and if we just play interaction on their turn, we get really punished for it. So this is going to be a massive headache for us, to be certain. Could also anticipate them potentially looking at bringing in Looming Psyhawk. I don't imagine they'll care for archival storage. They might care about it potentially. This does do some things against us. This does actually do things against our graveyard tools. They can shut off seafloor treasures, remove its surface ability. They can put offset daemons on the bottom of our library, though I don't think putting daemons on the bottom of our deck is actually that good for them. So I don't think that's enough for them to want archival storage. Clash does not seem very good for them. Oberys Lay Pilgrim is a maybe. Like, we do have we do have offset daemons for Oberys to exile, so that could be pretty relevant. Otherwise, there's Syscalls that we are going to be looking to bring in, so they can also look to hit that. For my part, I'm bringing in Syscall. I'm bringing in Thistral Charm. Charm is more interaction for the offset daemons. It is interaction for the Advance of the Quiet Moons. It's counter spells for all of these enchantments, for these planeswalkers. It is a way to copy up a token in a pinch. Maybe we will eventually need it. Maybe. Can also deal damage to a battle if we grab Clash of Orth Cross out of our sideboard, but we are going to be putting it in the sideboard here. We're also going to be getting rid of the Deafening Clarions here, and I think we're going to get rid of his seafloor treasures just on the off chance that they board in that archival storage. Enemy Mutations, Psyhawk are the big things to be scared of. I could maybe look at bringing in my own Psyhawks. They do have some token generation of their own that they care about. Specifically, shuts off their offset daemon tokens, shuts off treasures from Shigani Manor Burns, which would have been great in their Mana Screw in the early turns there. Kind of niche use, but it can shut off the Advance of the Quiet Moon. We can flash it out in response to a Cathella Zero, but I don't think those are enough reasons to want the Psyhawk here. So we're going to rock it like that. Opponent is presumably going to be on the play in this game 2 here. Opponent rolled a 19. All right, we've got 5 lands, 3 become 1 Draconis Magistus. This is a massive gamble here. Oh boy. I mean, we can Silent Lakefront for a basic island, Primal Fisher on 2. I mean, this is not actually that bad. Actually, we can just hold the Silent Lakefront. It's very likely we get to 5 lands without the lakefront given this hand. So I'm going to take a chance and just say keep 7. All right, they lead on a Wind-Beaten Stones. We draw a Draconos Magistus number 2. I'm going to lead on Misty Peak and pass. Inner Inferno in play. Oh boy. We untap, we draw, we find our 6th land. My goodness. I think I'm going to go ahead and Wind-Beaten Stones tapped here rather than play out the Primal Fisher. I'll play the Primal Fisher next turn, hold up Draconos Magistus. That is an Atomic Core, though. Ooh boy. That's scary. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, when you keep a 5-lander and you draw 2 lands and another copy of one of the 2 cards that you kept, you just kind of got to work with it. We'll pass. They put a counter on Atomic Core that's going to put a trigger on Inner Inferno. So they have a stack Conviviplex that lets them guarantee a land next turn. They have 4 mana to work with, or they can hold off on using Inner Inferno for a turn. and try and jam out a 5-drop here. Ahead of schedule with the Atomic Core. Okay, they're just going to go ahead and play the Conviviplex here. They are going to pass. I'm going to hold the Primal Fisher until I have 3 lands in play. This smells like a... Yeah, this smells a lot like they're holding up Looming Psyhawk. I'd love to thin a land out of my deck, but I do think I just have to take the draw here. We get lucky here. We do find the Offset Daemon off the top. We're just going to hold on to that, though, because, again, this smells a lot like a Looming Psyhawk. And I do not intend to get caught by that. Let's just go ahead and pass here. If they want to flash it out at end step, I will let it happen. Okay, they're going to tick up Atomic Core, put another card under Inner Inferno. They get Temple of Origins. Keep it in land drops. Yeah, this is a very good card. Yep, and they do have the Looming Psyhawk. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to say okay to that. So they're going to play Temple as their 5th land here. They have 6 mana available to them. They're going to go to combat, swing 2, gain 2. Let's go ahead and crack Primal Fisher now. I think we're going to go get another basic island. We'll untap. We will draw Fateful Ascent. Well, we have Fateful Ascent off of 3, become 1 at least. I think I'm going to shock into the Wind-Beaten Stones, scare him a little. Pass. They're going to go up to 3 counters on Atomic Core. Inner Inferno trigger. Wow, they just keep hitting land drops, huh? They have the 2nd Psyhawk. Wow. Well, I would love to top deck in Iviana to start picking off these Psyhawks. They're going to go ahead and play that mountain as land for turn. Hit us for 4. Could be worse. They could be going for End of Mutations here. They have 9 mana available. It's a lot. Atomic Core, very good card here. They're passing, so I'm going to pull the trigger on 3, become 1 here. The only thing they could do is flash in their third of 4 Psyhawks. Sorry, they have all 4 copies available to them. So let's go ahead and draw 3. 3 more lands! Exactly what we needed. Goodness gracious. Well, we're going to Fateful Ascent the Psyhawk. Wow, when I kept a 5-lander, I did not think I was going to flood out this badly. They get a chart. We'll untap and draw. Overrule Will is the draw for turn. There is a temptation here to go for Offset Daemon to start offsetting the life loss from Looming Psyhawk, but I'd like to hold Draconis Magistus up, so I think I need to be a bit more measured here. Let's go ahead and play the Primal Fisher. And pass. The one scary thing is that they are teeing themselves up for just a massive terminal impact. No impact yet. They just keep building up for Crucible. Or sorry, building up lands with Inner Ring's Inferno. Inner Inferno, not Inner Ring. Inner Ring's Pupil, just glued to my brain. Yeah, this has gotten away from us. They just have so much mana available to them that Terminal Impact is going to come down and kill us here. I can nearly guarantee it. So it's going to be Terminal Impact for 11. We take 2. They gain 2. Tap out Terminal Impact. The one nice thing about Terminal Impact, while it is uncounterable, we can still gain 3 life by targeting it with Silent Lakefront. They're going to second main. That looks like tap out Terminal Impact. They choose... Yeah, they choose upon resolution. So I gain 3 to 13, go down to 2 here. Let's crack Primal Fisher here. Go find a Plains. Well, yep, that's not really going to cut it. Offset Daemon, we don't get the token. We gain 3. Yeah, we just flooded so hard. 19 cards deep. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of our 25 lands. One, two, three, 4. Yep. Yeah, just spectacularly bad draw there. Really not much we can do. I think I was reasonable on the rationale for why I kept that opening hand. The draws just did not support me from there. It was very much like our game 2 of last round where Greed just got a little punished there. But in that case, it was us assuming, seeing a fifth of our lands were probably good. And then we just draw 7 more lands. Ooh, we drew more lands than we had turns after turn 1. That was very unfortunate. Let's go back in, though. So game 3 here. 3-lander. We've got Windbeaten Stones, Lucent Basin, Silent Lakefront, Fistral Charm, Double Overrule Will, Iviana. That is going to be a keep. We've got the interaction. I think we're going to lead on Silent... yeah, we're going to lead on Silent Lakefront. I started regretting it the moment I hit it, but we're going to go find an island here. Because there's a consideration for keeping this for turn 3, because we got 3 2-mana counterspells here, but we will draw Fateful Ascent. Let's go ahead and shock in Windbeaten Stones just so we've got it up. If they want to go for stuff, they can. They can allow us to try and fight over the stack. Shigani Manor burns. I will gladly overrule will that. I'm going to mill them. Hit Dutiful Wanderer, Temple of Origins, Plains. We untap, we draw, 3 become 1. Uh-oh. Lucent Basin. Pass turn. Don't love that. Shigani Manor Burns number 2. I think I would like to overrule Will again. I may target myself this time just to try, because like if I mill 3, that goes to 6 cards in graveyard. No, it doesn't really let me do anything. I'm gonna Thistral Charm that, I think. Because this can stop an Offset Daemon from going into play, so it can stop them from making the token, I value that a little bit more right now. Okay, drew the 4th land. We need 1 more land drop, and then we're clear to play 3 become 1 or Iviana. Come on, deck. I need ya. So we have access to Fateful Ascent and Overrule Will here. Now I'll look at using Overrule Will to target myself if needed. We draw another 3 become 1. That is us missing a land drop. Uh-oh. That is 4 mana for Offset Daemon. Well, this is what we were holding up Overrule Will for. I'm going to target myself with the mill. Mountain, Island, Silent Lakefront. Come on! You have got to be kidding me. After last game? Holy cow. Okay. Okay. This is fine. I would like to... shock in Windbeaten Stones. I think I go get Asulio here. So we're going to get 2 treasures, counters to 2, sideboard, reveal Asulio, the Watchful Star. Pass turn. Yeah, nothing in our graveyard yet. They've got Offset Daemon, double Shigani Manor Burns in there. Very happy to have stopped both SMBs so far. They hold on to the Primal Fisher rather than cracking it. Advance of the Quiet Moon. I think that's fine. Actually, that's better than fine because that resets Iviana. Let me think. Oh, shoot. Hold on. We blow that up on our turn. Get back Iviana. Downtick Iviana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because we'll have 4 treasures. Cast Garation. Cast Asulio? I'd love to have Elton on in hand, actually, but that is cast Asulio, cast Garation, swing 16, take you to 4. Oh, wait, no, we can't Fateful Ascent that. Oh, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that it's a non-land permanent. It's a battle. It's not an enchantment. I can't Fateful Ascent it. Well, I let it through with Asulio anyways, or rather than using Asulio anyways, because I do think there are more pressing things to deal with. We will draw Siscall here. The one downside with her mana situation right now is we are sitting on 2 natural blue sources, which means we are really pinched for colored mana. I think we're just going to hang out. 3 become 1 can slip Siscall into play, so we're not under a ton of pressure in that regard. Don't love missing land drops. They also miss land drop. They also still don't use Primal Fisher. Interesting. They're trying to draw those extra land drops. Inner Inferno. We will say K to that. It doesn't do anything right now. We've shut off 2 copies of All right. Let's go for 3 become 1. Do you want to respond, Crack Primal Fisher? They say, okay. Let's draw 3 cards. Find a Lucent Base and Fateful Ascent to overrule Will. We'll go ahead and cast a Syscall. I think we're going to go ahead and put this on program C. We're pretty good on cards right now. I think I'd rather just bank it for a couple turns from now. We'll untap. We will draw a Primal Fisher. I will happily play that out. And pass the turn. Yeah, I was not paying attention to Advance of the Quiet Moon being a battle. That is a very silly mistake on my part, but one I will have to live with. Oh, this looks like the opponent is getting ready to go for, yup, End of Mutations. I'm going to say K. Destroy it, take 5. I'm thinking if I want to use my treasure to just 3 become 1 here. I don't think so. I think I'd rather fire away with some things. We're going to crack this, go get an island. Draw Offset Daemon is huge here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we shock in Lucent Basin, we get to Offset Daemon, hold up 3 become 1. It's a little risky, but I think I like the gamble here. Oh, I should also be on program A. So we're going to go Wind Beaten, Island, Island, Plains, Offset Daemon. We go ahead and make an Overflow token. With nothing in our graveyard yet, I think we're going to take the safety play and tuck this over here on program A. Combat, swing 3, gain 3. And pass. They have a tapped Wind-Beaten Stones here. Do you have... You have a second End of Mutations. Whenever your opponent casts... An opponent casts a non-creature spell, I think I would like to just say K to that again. Two for 2. 'Tis the nature of the matchup. I just need to deal with those. Please tell me you don't have a third. We will draw Thistral Charm. Go to program B. Just pass on over. They have a Terminal Impact. So that is going to be for 7 here. Ooh, this is rough. And because we have program A where our overflow is, they take us to 7, and then we just are at 7. Yeah. Mana issues. Games 2 and 3 are really biting us. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. Thistral Charm. 3 become 1. Oh, not look. It's draw 3. Holy shit. Offset Daemon in hand. I would like to copy my overflow token. It mattered. It mattered. Holy cow. They say, I believe that does work. Copy of target token you control. We will draw another offset daemon. Oh, I think that's lethal. Holy shit. I'd like to get back this offset daemon. Holy shit. Okay. That was... Oh, they had the third end mutations! Holy cow. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we got there on a very tense game. My goodness. All right. That is going to be us 3-0 going into the final round of Swiss. We are locked for top cut there. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we are the first Eviana player to lock in for top cut here. Other two players are a blue-red tempo deck and a mono-red aggro deck. So one way or another, we will continue to probably not see black or green in these Swiss matches, but we'll see how things shake up. We could be the one paired down into a 2-1 player. So if we get the Dream Crusher matchup, we could absolutely run into something other than just blue, red, and white. I will also say, if you don't see a round 3 video, if the next thing you see is something in top cut, there's a very high likelihood that my opponent and I chose an intentional draw. I may very well take that. Just give myself a bit of grace with how rough this run has been so far. Not rough necessarily. We have had some very lucky games, but very difficult. And I'd like to spare myself the processing power if I can. But we'll see how it goes. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next round, I'll see y'all in the Revolution chat. Bye-bye.